So, hey, a question just came up on treatment court professionals about mental health courts and what they look like. And Judge Bill and I are working on a couple things, but this one isn't ready for prime time, but I think maybe it fits into the discussion. There tends not to be a lot of video about these courts because it's very invasive, because it can shame people. But this thing isn't ready for prime time, but I'm going to discuss maybe some thoughts that we need to have about our courtrooms in general and about highly sensitive courts like mental health courts. So I want you to think initially just about a courthouse. There's lines of people. There's a lot of noise and tension. There's all sorts of stuff going on, civil stuff, criminal stuff, family law stuff, people all over the place asking questions. There are a lot of crowds. People are tense. Some maybe are going to jail or having other issues or legal issues around them. There are these security checks where there's a lot of law enforcement and badges, and they make you go through a scanner, and they do all these things. There's lots of suits running around and legal talk and people carrying briefcases who think maybe they're pretty important. There's a lot of signs, there's case numbers, there's a lot of names, there's confusion. There's things called dockets. There's all this weird stuff. And when you're going in there, there's like a lot of unpredictability about the immediate future. So courthouses themselves are sort of inherently a hostile environment, aren't they? They sort of feel weird. And for those of us who spend our career in them, they feel like home. But for the people who are there, who are invited there involuntarily, they feel pretty weird. So now I want you to think about if you had an anxiety disorder, trauma, mental health disorder, learning disorder, any other emotional or physical response to all of these elements, how do you think it would work? Because that's some of your mental health court issues. That's all our court's issues. But for people who have these disorders, which they're diagnosed or they're undiagnosed, but they're most certainly present, this courthouse becomes very intimidating and triggering in some cases. So now think about a courtroom. You finally get down the hall and you get into this courtroom where they told you should be. And the judge's bench is elevated up and there's big flags and symbols and stuff and videos and stuff. There's places where people can go and some people can't. The bar and jury box and all these things. And there's some kind of uncomfortable seats or benches, often wood. Feels like your butt's going to go to sleep. People sitting next to you, crowded seating, creepy unknown people sitting next to you. You don't know them. They start talking, they do stuff. There's security, there's law enforcement, there's lawyers, there's clerks, there's people moving all over the place. There's movement all around you and behind you. And they call your name and they talk about you in front of a whole crowd of people. So let's stop and think about that. You think there might be a better way? Because for persons with these triggering diagnoses and these challenges, maybe our system is designed in a way that doesn't improve their outcomes. One that might feel safer. One that might feel a little less intimidating. One where you don't feel like something dangerous is lurking behind you. One where you might be able to focus on what's being said and not freak out, because then you can't remember and you don't know what was said. One where you might feel more comfortable in front of the people who like you or who support you, right? As opposed to people who might be hostile. One where people will take the time to listen to you and hear you, even though you might be less articulate and somewhat confused. So what if a courtroom itself, one, considered maybe moving away from a courthouse, but if not possible? One, if a court minimizes movement, reduces sound, has everyone at the same level around a table, not I'm better than you or I'm bigger than you or more power than you. Had you sitting where you feel safe, where you can see the people who are your protectors right next to you or across from you, your defense attorney, treatment, your counselors, the people who know, people who you perceive as less threatening. The people who maybe, if a court took the time to hear you, just slow things down, take time, And when you speak, they listen and they respond. A courtroom where people recognized how incredibly hard it is for you every time, standing up or sitting down in this room full of people who you don't know and who don't make you feel safe, and who supported you and gave you praise. What would a court like that be? Because that's what we should be doing. Our courts should feel like the safest place for you, not for us, for you, for the people who are coming in, where you knew that you would be getting help, not harm, where you knew that people would recognize your accomplishments and would reward them, where it is safe for you in a world that has been hostile in the past, for people who don't yell at you for making mistakes and understood that people may make mistakes. We all do. So do our clients. Where people smile when they saw you and help you when you're struggling, and where you didn't feel alone. What if we had a court like that? Because we should. This is the place. The old trappings of a standard criminal court do not help in this setting. These are people with complex diagnoses, and they need a different response. So it really isn't that difficult. If we want people to change, we need to change. Settings can make a huge difference. How we act can make a huge difference. Limit movements behind participants. Let them see what's going on in front of them. Make it feel safe. Reduce distractions and motions and noise and ticking and things fluttering around. People coming and going. Understand that gender, age, culture, all have big impacts. We can adjust. See women at 1 p.m., see men at 2:30. Keep impaired drivers separate. Have mental health court dockets that are slow in pace. Make sure that we are adjusting ourselves to meet our target. They are different. Have specific docket times for special groups and acknowledge the distinctions in the culture and in their diagnoses, and understand trauma. It is pervasive in our courts. Don't make it worse. Reduce it. Bring the level down. Focus your designs on what it is you're doing. Think about customer service. Use one-stops if you can, because it's not just the courthouse, is it? It's all of our services. Go to probation, go to mental health, go to substance use, go to testing, go to here, go to there. Co-locate your services where you can. Reduce transportation issues. My goodness. Consolidate meetings and appointments. Transportation is a huge expense. It is a time consumer. It is an issue for people. It is scary for people. Go to them. Some probation departments now have little vans that they take services to people. Use regional areas for services. Don't make it harder. Make it easier and safer. That's a design. Think customer service. Think about how we can improve our outcomes. What we do isn't always the best for some of our unique populations. Think outside the box. Create a different box. Hope it helps.